Tonight, can public servants breathe a sigh of relief about salaries? Credit unions might come to the government's rescue on this matter, as confirmed by Prime Minister Allen Chastanet. A Saltibus farmer is found dead. It is suspected that he took his life. And Barbados gets set to remove all curfew restrictions and reopen fully. We have the details coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Friday, the 26th of June, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow Channel 117. The broadcast is also being simulcast on Kiss FM, our Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and our Facebook page. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Allen Chastanet has indicated that public sector workers may not be required to accept deferred payment on their salaries. Government has been consulting and negotiating with the local credit unions, which may purchase government bonds, giving the administration the fiscal space to meet its financial obligations. The Prime Minister is hopeful that by the end of this month or early July, he will be able to give a definitive response on this matter. Genevieve Gonzague tells us more.
The public sector and the government have been at loggerheads for the past 3 months about a mixed modality of payment proposed to public sector workers. The proposal by the government was for salaries to amount to 50% cash and 50% in bonds for a 3-month period. Unions representing public sector workers in St. Lucia rejected the mixed modality payment. Prime Minister Allen Chastanet now indicates that another option is being explored, which will no longer require sacrifice on the part of the public sector. St. Lucia credit unions could soon buy government bonds. However, consultations continue with local credit unions and an arrangement has not yet been formalized. Therefore, nothing is set in stone as yet.
We've been meeting with the credit unions, and we've come to, from my understanding, with the Ministry of Finance, if not formal, a verbal agreement in terms of them purchasing some of the government bonds, and that's certainly going to be sufficient to solve the short-term problem that we have. So, given that we would not be pursuing to take any deferment of salaries from any of the workers, because we're able to substitute it through the credit unions.
The Prime Minister indicated that his government never had any intention of forcing public sector workers to accept its part bonds wage offer, but was rather exploring options to bridge a financial gap brought about by COVID-19.
This was a situation that was certainly created because of how large of an impact COVID was. We're seeing that other countries around the world are doing the same thing. I mean, in the case of Barbados, they have a central bank that has the ability to have purchased those bonds. We weren't in that position, and so we had to try to get both the commercial banks as well as the workers to be able to solve that problem. And again, at no point were we trying to enforce it. We were through negotiations.
Chastanet says he is hopeful that the negotiations with the credit unions will be finalized by the end of June or early July. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
There has been a case of suspected suicide in the community of Jetwin Saltibus. The body of 39-year-old Jean-François Philippe was discovered outside his house sometime around 6:30 Thursday. Philippe reportedly dealt with mental health issues in the past and had reportedly made a previous attempt at taking his own life. Meanwhile, the Minister for Human Services is urging people battling depression and mental health issues to seek out help. She says it is always heartbreaking when such matters end in tragedy. She says her department offers a range of services to respond to such crises. Genevieve Gonzague has more.
News that a farmer of Saltibus possibly ended his life on Thursday spread throughout the country on Friday. In her capacity as the Gender Relations and Human Services Minister, Dr. Gail Rigobert says it is always disheartening when people get so overwhelmed and resort to suicide.
We have always been very cognizant of the extraordinary emotional and psychological stress that something like COVID-19 can impose on persons, and those with already underlying health or behavioral conditions will suffer even more. I trust that the various agencies that are responsible for ensuring the health, emotional, behavioral well-being of our citizens have amplified their efforts, given that COVID itself presents additional stresses. It is regrettable anytime one feels they've come to the end of the line and that perhaps they have no other alternative. To those out there who are feeling very stressful and forlorn or wondering where to turn to, there are agencies that we can call.
Dr. Riegelbert appealed to members of the public to seek help. Assistance is available from the Gender Relations Unit, the Human Services Department, the Suicide Hotline, the Crisis Center, or counselors attached to the various districts around the island. She also encouraged members of the public to continue looking out for each other.
I do not want for anyone to feel that there is nowhere else to turn. There are people you can turn to. Find that one person that you can have that conversation with, who can then direct you to the right service or right medical practitioner to deal with the issue. And we've got to be our brother's keeper. We must never forget that. That is where we start, actually.
During the last 2 weeks, 2 individuals have attempted suicide. One was a complete suicide, and the other was not successful with the attempt. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
Castries Central MP Sarah Flood-Bobre has indicated that she has no intention of backing out of the race to hold on to her seat in the next general election. The MP brushed off suggestions that her constituents are not happy with her performance and said she will stick around as long as her constituents want to keep her around. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
Parliamentary Representative Sarah Flood-Bobre has made it clear that she is not stepping down from her seat and bowing out of the elections race after she was questioned about her near future in politics. On Thursday morning, a local reporter asked the MP whether she believes that she will be voted back into office, as there have been alleged utterances of dissatisfaction on her performance. Flood-Bobre laughed off the claims, but stated that the constituents are her main priority.
How do you know what's going on in my constituency?
In the media, I've thought
You seem to be very much interested in Castries Central. Let us just say that we have not had constituency branch elections for recently, and what's important, I would say, in the elections is what the constituents as a whole think. Some branches are not as organized as they need to be. What is important is that my campaign team is well organized, and we have massive support. There's no one else who's going to run the seat in Castries Central.
Ever since Castries Mayor Peterson Francis indicated that he is interested in running for elective office last year, speculation has been rife that he is eyeing the Castries Central seat. This possibility was presented to the MP, and this was her response.
I don't focus on people who are aspiring. At the end of the day, the party decides, and I believe that I'm the candidate, and I would like to encourage everyone to come on board. A winning ticket. So I would not want to discuss the business of the United Workers' Party publicly. That is a matter for party members to decide, but I think we can look forward to a very exciting election in Castries Central, as is always the case. From the time I put my name forward in 1996 to run elections, I've always had persons who would try to contest me within and without, and never too old to learn, never too experienced to learn something new. I'm not afraid of a challenge. My confidence, my hope is in the people whom I serve.
The MP said she is certainly willing and ready to offer herself again. She went on to ask the people of Castries to give her another chance to continue the works that she has been doing. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Barbados is ready to reopen its international borders while also removing all curfew restrictions effective this Wednesday, the 1st of July. Physical distancing has been reduced from 6 feet to 1 meter. Tourism-based establishments will be allowed to reopen. However, Prime Minister Mia Mottley says the safety of Barbadians and visitors is non-negotiable. The announcement was made during an address to the nation. Motley also announced that effective the 12th of July, scheduled commercial air traffic will resume at the Grantley Adams International Airport. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, the Babonneau MP takes aim at the leader of the opposition, questioning his track record as an MP and a former minister. Accusations by Alva Baptiste regarding a foreign investor being a leech causes a ruckus in Parliament. And the CCC meets with coconut vendors to chart the way forward for vending in the city. That and more coming up after the break.